Got nothing to talk about, have we? All right, now I'll do it. Good evening, everybody.
They paid for it.
They paid for it.
Well,
You paid
specifically,
for it.
Ian paid for it.
Ian paid for it. And other people did as well, to be fair.
Yeah, mostly Ian.
As well. Yeah,
Mostly.
evening, everyone. Welcome back to Saints Network. We are back. Apologies for not being here last weekend, but things happen. We've had a 2-week break. We've had to part of international football, which was absolutely dire. We've been able to laugh at the Scots, laugh at the English, laugh at the Irish, laugh at the Northern Irish, laugh at the Welsh. And then we come back and we got an FA Cup tie against Arsenal, which we were told was a foregone conclusion. And at the end of it, Wembley! Wembley!
What you banned from saying the word Wembley?
I've been banned from saying the word Wembley at home today. Yeah. After walking in the house at like 11:30 last night and shouting it very loudly. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get the admin out of the way first. Can you press your magic button? There we go, people. If you're new here, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoy the content, and obviously click that bell notification to get notified every single time we go live. We're going to cover the Arsenal game yesterday in great detail, I'm sure. We're going to talk about all the other bits that have happened with the club in the last couple of weeks, and also preview the Wrexham game on Tuesday against Disney FC and the Derby game. I remember it's Derby on Saturday.
It's not a derby. We played them twice already.
Fuck off. Don't you start. It's been long enough as it is. So, yes, please make sure you hit that like button. There's 74 of you in the chat right now. It's completely free. Liam will take you through all the other salesman bits in a bit. I'm just buzzing me tits off.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I
you
barely
hate
slept.
doing the intro, don't you?
I don't really like it, to be fair.
No.
Because I feel like it sort of...
Yeah.
Yeah. But they paid for it, so...
They did, yeah.
I mean, if they keep paying for it, I'll have to keep doing it.
Well, I mean, I feel like last week they paid for... Not last week, but Tuesday, they paid for twice.
Well, we said that.
Exactly.
So I've still got to do it next week.
one more in the bank, haven't they?
They got one more in the bank, yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for showing up tonight, you wonderful human beings. What Ash didn't tell you about is the best way to support the channel. If you want to support us, there's a couple of ways you can do that. Firstly, you can turn yourself into a green name. You can press a little $ on YouTube and sign up to be a Saints Network member. We have multiple different tiers, anything from $4.99 upwards. It gives you different access to different areas in Discord. Caveat, some of the higher tiers, we haven't really fleshed that out yet. There's something Ash and I are planning to do over the summer, ready for the new season, next season in the Premier League. You can also gift memberships like Mr. Garsty's already done. Garstey is a Wrexham fan who said to me on my other channel in the middle of the week, if you beat Arsenal on Saturday, I'll gift 5 members.
If we beat Man City, gift 50.
That's not fair, Ash, that's a lot of money. He has been true to his word. He's gifted us 5 memberships. Thank you so much, you wonderful human being. You're amazing. Otherwise, the only way you can support us financially is by super chatting. YouTube call it a super chat. I hate it, so Ash and I call it a postcard. Again, you press that $, select super chat. You can type something out, select a value, hit the go button. At the end of the show, we'll read through every single super chat and give you an answer. If it's relevant at the time in which we're talking, we'll read it out there and then anyway. So that's the ways you can support us financially, so you can pay for our travel to go to Wembley
For an FA Cup that no one cares about.
I felt a little bit like I cared yesterday, I'll be honest.
I mean, people who are around us would have heard that potentially you did care a little bit.
Either I cared because of the cup or it was the 5 points. It was one of the two.
I think it would probably more than getting one over on Arsenal fans after the easy draw that they got.
Yeah, so I think, I'll be honest, and I think most Saints fans, if they're honest, genuinely honest, went into yesterday's game. I think we all probably went in there feeling pretty good and sort of cautiously optimistic at times. I didn't think we'd get battered. I thought we'd been playing significantly better football this season than we had last season in the Premier League, and I felt like we would probably put in a better performance than we did last season in the Premier League. That being said, I think a lot of Saints fans, if they're really honest with themselves, probably expected us to come away with a loss. And what we were hoping was we wouldn't get smashed 7-0 like Port Vale did.
Agreed.
We would lose by 1, maybe 2 goals, but we'd put in a good showing. Everyone could be super proud. The unbeaten run's over, but we got beat by top of the Premier League. I think that's what most people expected.
And would have been, not happy with, but would have been respectable with, yes.
I did see a fair few comments on social media, etc. People going, I think we can do these. And I was like, I mean, I know they're Bottle Job FC, but they are still top of the Premier League. There is a bit of a gulf in class between the two squads. Talking of which, the teams then got announced. We went, I think, pretty much as strong as we probably could.
Yeah, I would agree. So potentially you could argue some different changes, but yeah.
I was a bit like, I felt like Shea Charles is a stronger choice than Yander at the moment, and I'm a big Yander fan. Having said that, maybe he's because he's been playing internationally, etc. He got a bit of a resting. Ross Stewart up front again. Kyle Larin came back late Thursday, was it?
Yes.
He played late Thursday, then came back or something. So not massive surprise that he was rested. Fellow starting, I like to see. Leo back in from injury. I also like to see. Matsuki dropped off the team sheet there.
Yeah, he's suspended.
And so was Flynn Downs.
Was
suspended as well. And point to note, Ryan Manning's now suspended for the semi-final, which I actually feel like is a bit of a sting at the moment because I think he's been playing really well, actually, Ryan Manning. So our lineup was, I think, as we pretty much expected for the most part, right? It was about as strong as it could. Arsenal's wasn't.
Right, so there's been some narrative leading up to this game about Arsenal and the way they've been, how do we word it, managing their international players. So the majority of them who were not involved in meaningful internationals, because let's be honest, guys, if you watch those 2 England games during the thing, they were absolutely dire and boring. But if you don't, go and subscribe to Jimmy Cheese as well. He did a video on it. And obviously a lot of people are saying the same thing. Alex Ferguson used to do it back in the olden days with Ryan Giggs, for example. He never played a Wales friendly, he only played the competitive fixtures. And Saka and Madueke left Wembley on a brace against Uruguay with the leg brace on, but Saka came out, Rice came out. Calafiori didn't play for Italy in their friendly against Bosnia, which obviously went well for them. And I think they had like 12 players pull out. And obviously we expected the majority of them to line up. And a fair few of them did. But a fair few of them didn't. So there was no Declan Rice, there was no Saka. And, he didn't start Gabriel and Saliba together.
Do you think that is naive attitude on Arteta's part? Do you think he thought Southampton will be fine?
I think there's 2 ways to look at it. On paper, that team should be beating us every day of the week. However, do I think it's naive? 100% yes. After the issues that they had, and I'm sure some Arsenal fans will look at this, and I don't want to knock them too much, but I will a bit. After the issues they had in the Carabao Cup final with Kepa dropping one for Nico O'Reilly on the line and kind of that narrative around it, I think it was naive of him to play Kepa again. And I don't think Kepa really put a foot wrong yesterday. I thought distribution was a bit forward. But
I did see some fans online blaming him for both goals, and I'm like, I don't think that's fair at all.
You can't blame him for either of those goals. None of those goals. You can't blame him for either of them. I think that we'll obviously get into the game properly in a minute, but the lineup, all week I've said the same thing to people all week. I've always said my heart says yes, my head says no. And then when the lineup was released, I don't know how to describe it. I haven't talked to you about this, but there just seemed to be a difference in the atmosphere at St Mary's yesterday. It wasn't we're turning up, there's loads of tourists, we're turning up to watch Arsenal. Arsenal fans walking around thinking we're going to batter this lot 5-0.
I'll tell you what, Ash, if you'd have told me 12 months ago where we were at that point, shortly after the podcast had launched in 2025, right, with the Premier League season that we'd had, and said to me that I would have experienced that atmosphere at that game and that result, 12 months later, I'd have called you a fucking crackhead and slapped you.
I mean, you do anyway.
Yeah.
You spent most of last night sticking your finger in your ear.
But I honestly would have. There's no because St Mary's throughout the Premier League season just kind of mostly felt quite flat, and I know
for understandable reasons.
Of course, and there was plenty of people that were still singing along. I'm not saying it was silent, but it was like people were just drained of kind of enthusiasm and excitement because we didn't have anything to be excited about.
Mm-hmm.
We were pretty much already foregone conclusion to be relegated, etc. It was just one of those seasons that you just want to forget. And so to be here 12 months later, and actually, let's be honest, if you'd have told us this 8 months ago, probably would have called you a crackhead. Because there was a period of time at the start of the season when Will Still was in charge that by the way, my voice is knackered from yesterday. There was a period of time when Will Still was in charge where we weren't playing well. Results were not going our way. And when Tonda took over, we were 21st in the league?
21st?
We were 21st in the league when Tonda took over, right? Yeah. We're now unbeaten since the 17th of January. We've won most of those games since then, but we're unbeaten since the 17th of January. We're now outside of the top 5, the only other team to have beaten Arsenal this season, outside of the top 5 in the Premier League. You're right, the atmosphere, it felt different. It felt different from the moment we walked up to the fan zone and stood there having our beers. The second we got in that stadium, there was a buzz.
Yes.
It felt different, and I don't know how to explain it, but it was pretty special, and they did a great job with Mark Dennis of getting the crowd riled up and ready before the game started. They did a great job with the video. They did a great job of the fireworks and the lights for a change, because it's normally a bit naff.
Light show worked.
It was good. It was fine. And I think Saints fans, honestly, we'll get into the specifics of the game right after this, but Saints fans honestly should, realistically, if you were at the game yesterday, be patting your backs, because They were electric. They were incredible. There's this cliche shit that happens all the time in football about the 12th man. I think yesterday it made a difference.
Agreed.
And if you look at the way that the players reacted to the fans, both during the game at points and at the end of the game, specifically towards the northern wall that people have criticised all season, and I think last night we finally saw it working properly. Mm-hmm. I think if you see it, you can tell that actually it meant something to them. It was important that they had that level of support. And what was really good was when Arsenal did get their equaliser, again, we'll get into the specifics, the Saints crowd reacted in such a way that it can have only given those players a boost, I think, at that particular point in time.
Agreed.
So we saw the lineups. I still was like, I think we'll get a beat, but I think we'll put in a good performance, I'll be honest. And it started off actually quite an exciting game. I'd go as far as to say we've got some neutrals in chat, like Garsty, because Garsty's a Wrexham fan. Unless they get relegated, he might go back to supporting someone else. I'd love to know what you think about this, but I've watched it back and I was like, actually, I think for the neutral, it's probably a really good game to watch, to be honest with you. There were some early chances both ways. There was Leo's penalty shout.
Not a penalty.
I've seen it on when I saw it real time, I was like, that's a penalty. And
when you saw it real time, we were blinkered fans in the stand yelling for it.
Of course. Now I've watched it back on replay. It wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, it wasn't a penalty. It wasn't a penalty, but I think, we obviously criticised to a degree, and obviously fans are going to. We thought potentially suggested that he should have just hit it with his left foot, but everyone knew when Leo was in at that point he was going to come back on it.
Yeah, well, he wants to put on his right foot, doesn't he?
Of course he does.
So shouts for a penalty. There was a couple of Odegaard had a chance, 25 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, so Odegaard had a chance. I think it was him who had the other chance, which Taylor Hard-Bellis headed over. They had a lot of Arsenal obviously had a lot of the ball, as you would imagine, but they didn't really do anything with it. We had a few options. There was, for the first sort of 30 minutes of the game, we seemed just too afraid to shoot. So Cameron Bragg had the one where he was lined up sort of 20 yards out and wanted to pass it, and it got intercepted. And then Peretz punted the ball forward, and Gabriel headed it behind him, and Leo was through 1-on-1. And we've seen that a few times this year.
I fully expected him to score.
Yep.
And he just overran it.
Yep.
And fair play to the Arsenal defender.
Mosquera, yeah.
He got back quick and essentially outpaced him. But I at that point when Leo didn't score the 1-on-1, at that point I'm like, oh, here we go. It's gonna be one of them nights.
Yes.
A lot of huff and puff, and we're gonna be unable to blow the house down. And there was a fair few early chances on both sides. Now, Ash is right. Arsenal had the majority of the possession. I think like 60 to 70% of the possession.
64% they had overall.
Right, 64% possession, and I've seen rhetoric online about we had all the possession and we had more shots. I'm like, yeah, the only one that fucking matters is the one that's at the top of the screen when you're watching.
I will
TV.
admit, I haven't actually looked at XG today because I knew you'd be really happy with that.
Yeah, I think the only one we beat them on was fouls.
It literally is, yeah.
So they did outplay us in that regards. But I think what we're seeing with Tonda. Which we haven't seen under Russell Martin and we didn't really see under Will Still. And I'd love to know what you think about this. He's coming away a little bit from possession-based football, I feel, and he's working more on the transition and he's working more on counter-attacking football. And what you're seeing is we're sitting, waiting, winning that ball back, and we win the ball back, players are then working for each other. And we haven't seen that for a while.
I think it's that, and I think it's two things. I think he's been very good at doing that, and I think we've always known that we've been better against teams with a transition, because if we look at games, for example, against Oxford, Charlton, I know obviously we dropped points against Charlton, but those teams that do sit with Gartsy, get your bingo card out, with a low block, teams do struggle to break low blocks down, as Arsenal did with us yesterday. We obviously prefer to play the teams that are going for us, and obviously being in that transition, and it just helps. It just obviously we kind of had a bit of moments against Oxford and stuff, but it just helps with Leo being on the transition, because
he unlocks something different, doesn't he?
Tonda has become more adaptable, and I'll get onto the sort of tactics side of things at the end in a bit. But the first goal that we score is Leo picking the ball up in an awkward position in the final third of our half.
So regaining that possession.
And just driving forward with the ball for 20, 25 yards, and then obviously gives it. Jamesbury, Arteta will be fuming. No challenge whatsoever. No one tracking him, no challenge. He's got all the space in the world. Absolutely all the space in the world. And he dinks a little crossover, and there's the Loch Ness Drogba at the back post.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, right? And this is what I've seen online a lot recently over the last 24 hours, okay? It wasn't a great cross. It was just the wind.
Oh no, that's not the other one that I've also seen. I've also seen someone blaming the sun being in Ben White's eyes.
The sun was in Ben White's eyes. The wind. There's 2 yellow balloons on the pitch at one point. That probably did it as well. And every other excuse you want to get in. Basically, what happens is Ross Stewart reads that ball better than Ben White does.
He almost misjudges it if you watch it from behind it, but
he comes. What's nice if you watch him, he puts his arm up and he comes charging in the back quarter before Bree puts the crossover, and then just as Ben White goes for it, you see him stop, and you can see him go, "Oh, I'm going to go in too far here, and it will overshoot." And that means he takes a nice-ish little touch with his chest. Could have been slightly prettier, but he gets it down, and then slots at the bottom corner, and the fucking stadium erupted.
Great finish.
Erupted. Insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck. But again...
You were like, oh, we do care about the FA Cup.
Again, I was like, cool, we're probably still going to lose, but at least we're going to go down with a fight because we scored a goal here. And I also turned it in behind me and said, Arsenal are going to have to come at us now.
They are going to have to come at us. Josh, the sun had gone down by then. That's the irony of it, my friend.
Yeah.
That's the irony of it.
Arsenal fans and their copium. It's been good today.
It's kept me occupied for many a time.
Yeah.
No, it's.
They need to give their fucking heads a wobble. Some of them, by the way.
I honestly thought
Entitled
Arsenal would
pricks.
come and play with us, but they didn't change the way they played. And obviously, they finished the first half the stronger. We didn't do anything for the rest of the first half. Really, I think Azaz had kind of a half shot which Kepa caught, which surprised me because he actually caught it. And they had a couple of Peretz. There's a bit of a narrative around Peretz about him being brilliant yesterday, and he was, right? He did everything right. But apart from maybe the Max Dowman chance in the end of the second half, towards the end of the second half, everything that he had to do, he didn't have to do anything spectacular. Mm-hmm. It was just basic. He just had to make sure he caught the ball, came for the ball, and did all that sort of stuff. And at half-time, I expected Arteta to make some changes. He didn't. And I said to you, I thought our change would come on the hour mark. And the second half started almost in the same vein as the first half finished. We were going at him.
So I fully expected big changes at half-time because, let's face it, in the grand scheme of things, now that they've been beaten in the League Cup by Man City, if they're going to do a double, the easiest second trophy to win would be the FA Cup over the Champions League, right?
Agreed.
So I was like...
They're not winning the Champions League.
No, exactly. I don't think they are. So Arsenal fans were giving it that we're going to do the quadruple. Then City beat them in the League Cup. Well, we'll do the treble. And I think that they were dead certain they'd beat us. And I think that I expected him to come out second half, having had a rocket up the arse of the players who were playing, with a multitude of changes, bringing on some big guns, some first-team players. And I thought they would go at us. And they just kind of didn't. And yet again, they had the possession, right? But they just kind of didn't do anything with it. They didn't. And there's a couple of Arsenal fans in chat that I recognise. They didn't do anything that really excited me at all. They didn't show me anything. And I've watched Arsenal a fair amount this season because there's a few friends of mine who are big Arsenal fans, and I just kind of look at them and go, they're not that exciting. They don't terrify you the way like a Haaland at Man City terrifies you.
At the same time, you mentioned Arteta potentially being naive with the starting line. Obviously, we don't know what the situation is with the injuries, for example. But he would have had a situation where he's thinking about the Champions League quarter-final away at Sporting Lisbon on Tuesday. I expect Bayako Saka and Declan Rice, for example, to turn out for that one. William Saliba didn't play alongside Gabriel. They're obviously been known as set-piece FC this season, and their corners were core. Their corners were core. Jesus Christ, I'm having a stroke. Their corners were poor. Done almighty. Their corners were poor, and they weren't brilliant from that. And whether it's because we've done our homework on them, I don't know. But I expected them to come at us, and it says a lot that at the whole thing, and I'll get into their substitutions properly in a minute, but at a whole lot, the most impressive player for Arsenal was 16 years old.
Yeah, 100%.
And I thought Max Dowman was superb yesterday.
That being said, there was a couple of scary, itchy moments, a couple of us mucking about at the back, which I don't think you want to do against Arsenal. And then inevitably what did come was the equaliser. I've seen the pass. The pass was a very good pass.
It's a cracking pass from Gabriel.
It was a very good pass, but I think the defender's just been turned a bit too early there. And he pulls it back and it smashes it home. They score an equaliser. Cool. I was like, here we go. Knew this would happen. It'll be 2-1 Arsenal, and then we can focus on getting into the playoffs and maybe a route to Wembley that way, perhaps. And the crowd went silent, apart from Arsenal fans. Apparently, they were there.
They were there.
We did discover they were there because they sung when they scored the goal. that was it for 90 minutes. Like if Saints fans were the 12th man, then Arsenal fans were the -1 man. They still haven't got rid of the nickname Highbury Library. Let's be honest. They only cheered when they scored the goal, and then they all went quiet again. I think it's probably because they can't all sing in the same language or accents because they all come from different parts of the country and world, don't they? That's what happens with a Big Six club. Anyway, the response from us was great at that point. Saints fans picked the team back up. We kicked off again, and we carried on going for it.
I think that there was a piece in the second half that when we Arsenal made some changes. They brought on Gyökeres, Calafiori, and Madueke, and I thought Calafiori looked very assured in the centre of midfield. Gyökeres is obviously a threat because it's supposed to be the second coming of Jesus this weekend, and whatever he was doing up front for Arsenal yesterday, I don't know, but I forgot he was even on the pitch before he went off.
Gyökeres, yeah.
Lewis Skelly kind of was losing his way a bit as well, and Madueke got the ball in a lot of good positions. He just kept on overrunning it, which could just be a lack of confidence. I don't know. I'm not sure. There were a few times, and I said it to you, that we did lose the ball in stupid areas, and we allowed Arsenal to come onto us, and that's kind of where the confidence came from for their equaliser.
Yeah. We also then made 2 changes, though.
Which
interestingly, the changes were ready pre-Arsenal's equaliser.
Yeah.
And he didn't change his mind.
We took off, obviously, Leo Cienza and Ross Stewart, and we brought on Kyle Larin and Sam Edozie. And I thought for a little while we potentially were struggling. I said to our dad that I thought Kyle Larin would be the key to winning the game for us if we were going to win it, because I thought he could potentially bully them a bit. But you had, obviously then Shea Charles came on for Cameron Bragg, because Bragg had gone missing in the second half. But
I feel like in the first half, Bragg had a better half than Yander. And in the second half, I felt like that reversed, and Bragg looked a bit fucked.
Was surprised that he didn't take Yander off at half-time. I thought Yander was struggling, but in the second half, I thought Yander was brilliant.
Yeah.
And
it was, when Arsenal scored their equaliser, I think, again, most Saints fans will admit that they all went, here it comes, it's going to be 2-1, Arsenal. However, you've got a shout-out for someone.
Yes, Sarah said to me, I can't remember what minute it was, it would have been 76, 77, and she said to me, we'll win 2-1 and we'll score on the 85th minute, and we scored 84 minutes, 44 seconds.
And I was like, you're on fucking crack, not a chance.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and then we did, and there's a ball that gets played through. Finn kind of goes for it and kind of misses it, and I think it goes through an Arsenal defender's legs, and falls to Fellows. And Fellows, what I want to see more of him doing, and he does it quite well. By the way, I hope that man one day actually gets a goal for us, because I think he deserves it. But he just drives into the box, and he holds and holds and holds, and I was kind of thinking, shoot, but hang on, you don't score. And then what he did is he lays through this perfect pass for Shea Charles coming in, who didn't panic, didn't snatch at it, and just places it in that bottom corner. And again, the fucking place actually erupted. And for reference, it was on the 84th minute and 43rd second, which means it's in the 85th minute.
It's in the 85th minute, yes.
So Ash was like, I'll give her a shout out on the stream for that.
Yeah, she's also picking the lottery numbers.
No, like a right mug, because I was like, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. And then ensues some of the most nervous 12 minutes of my fucking life.
Well, you say that, and I haven't talked to you about this, but you apart from one shot from Max Dowman, which Perez did well to turn around the post, they didn't really do anything. They didn't do anything at all.
Yeah.
And I obviously, we know a few Arsenal fans who were absolutely furious at the way that they played. I think you talk about that naivety. Gyökeres was a bit of a handful up front. Obviously, Gabriel went off injured, which probably wouldn't have helped. There was a replay of Shea Charles' goal. Kyle Larin is stood in an offside position. And I could just see it. I said to you at the stadium last night when the goal went in, I said, I think they're looking at this. And Arsenal fans have since said that goal shouldn't have been disallowed. He was clearly offside, so he had nothing to do with the play.
That would have been... So if VAR would have overturned that goal for offside, I wouldn't have been surprised in the 85th minute to make sure it stays equal for Arsenal, because you know what happens after that, they probably win. And B, would have felt very hard done by.
It would have been hard done by, and I think that what we also haven't mentioned as well is obviously is early on in the second half, Leo hit the bar.
He did hit the bar, yeah. And
we come away from that game, and do you know what? I'm going to give a shout out to some Arsenal fans, because they're not all idiots. You see the meltdown on social media, and I get that a lot of them are doing it for clicks, and AFTV and stuff is absolutely hilarious, guys. If you haven't checked it out, go and watch AFTV. Trust me, it's entertaining for an hour or so. You'll take your Easter egg, go and watch it. It's brilliant. But there are some out there that have come away and gone, do you know what? doesn't matter what team we put out. We put out such and such, and we lost. Southampton were the better team. And I think overall, we were the better team. We had the better chances. We seemed a bit more. Arsenal had a lot of the ball. Of course, we were going to let them have the ball. Of course, we were going to let them have the ball. It's Arsenal.
You can't not. Like, it's going to happen. Accept it.
If we'd have gone toe to toe with them,
we'd lose.
They'd have murdered us.
100%. Anyway, it got a bit touchy towards the end of the game. They had a couple more kind of chances. They got a free kick at one point, and then Martinelli comes and pushes the ref over.
And only gets a yellow card for it.
I actually think that was probably fair.
I don't.
Although I called for the decision to be overturned, but then it's not rugby, so it doesn't happen. But
you did. I forgot about that. Yeah, you did.
I was like, if he's pushed the ref over, go right. You're getting booked. Now they get a free kick the other way. I think that would have been fair.
Yeah, but they don't understand that though.
But a lot of people say he should be sent off.
Yes.
You reckon?
You don't lay your hands on the referee. You don't lay your hands on the referee.
I think at that point that would have probably been a bit harsh.
I mean, now we've won the game, people will probably be like, still, but I still think that in that instinct, and it's not like he's done it kind of out the way or made a mistake or something. He's just shoved the referee out the way. David Prutton did that about 10 times and got a 10-game ban. So if he'd done it once, you should at least get a ban for it, surely.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, anyway, that didn't happen, and it got tense. There was 6 minutes extra time. We got into the 7.5 minute of extra time.
And they tried to do everything they could to let Arsenal score.
And they did everything they could to let them score, and we defended like resolutely. And then the whistle goes, and that place became a fucking party scene. If you haven't, get yourself on something like Twitter or Facebook and start finding some of the reels and videos of it. It was an absolute party scene. It was incredible, which is a shame after today's draw. But it was. And I'll be honest with you, I am a person who has said on this show repeatedly that for me personally, in recent years, the magic of the cup has disappeared, and I believe it. I still believe it to this day. I still believe that for the most part, the magic of the FA Cup has kind of gone, and most clubs and most fans will care more about the league than they will about the cup nowadays. And a lot of clubs put out second string sides. I did, however, especially at that full-time whistle yesterday, feel a bit of that magic again that we felt years and years and years ago. Remember when we got all the way to the final and we were at the Millennium Stadium watching Saints play Arsenal? I felt a bit of that magic come back.
No, it did. It was better. I just want to quickly give Riley a shout-out. 2 reasons. One, he's right. If the referee stumbles like Di Canio did at Hillsborough all those years ago, Martinelli's a goner and he's banned for like 10 games. Secondly, he's a West Ham fan. So everyone... say unlucky, Riley.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I know. Not all great. Obviously, I wasn't at the playoff semi-final when we beat West Brom. And obviously the scenes at the playoff final were amazing. But I've never known St Mary's be like that. And it's something that... do you know what? We'll talk about, obviously, the next round and stuff in a minute. Are we going to win it? Probably not. But it's something that those players should use. There is a piece, and I know people are going to say playing too much football, and we'll preview the Wrexham games. We'll probably go out there and play like shit. But it's something that those players can take with momentum and proper heart. The only thing they can't do is get too ahead of themselves.
I mean, we've been to St Mary's since it was built, you and I.
Yeah.
We've frequented it a lot since it was built. I've never felt that place like that. And that was a magical moment. And it wasn't quite Wembley playoff final, but it was a magical moment. It was really good, and that for me is magic of the cup. And then of course the draw comes tonight, and we all said it. We all called it. What they're gonna want, what the FA are gonna want is they're gonna want a Chelsea and Man City final. So let's watch Leeds draw one of them, and then we'll draw the other. And Leeds have drawn away to Chelsea. Obviously, it's not away because it's at Wembley, but they're the away team. And we got away to City. Imagine that. They don't do a lot of work, do they, to disprove the ties fixed nonsense? They don't, do they? So, anyway, Saints drawn away at Man City. What's funny is my attitude is the same as it was pre-Arsenal. We're probably going to get beat. As long as we put in a good performance and we can focus on the league, we'll be okay.
The pressure is not on us.
The pressure is not on us. we can't even use our special kit. Why not?
As I said to you, there is a rule in. That
We can.
No, they're applying for the permission. They think we're going to get the permission. So
we can use the special kit. We have to apply to the FA to be able to use it, and they have to approve.
They probably will.
So it's not a definite can't wear our special kit. We can if we apply and the FA approve. But yeah, so away at City with the away team versus City at Wembley. I'll be going Wembley. You'll be going to Wembley. Matty and Ian and Dad and Bex and Paddy will all be going to Wembley. So we are. I'm excited for it, and you are right. The pressure's off.
It's Man City.
I know I don't care about the FA Cup, but I get to watch Saints at fucking Wembley. That's great.
It's Man City, and we've actually not had the worst record against Man City in the last few years. Obviously, last year was shit, and we still held them to a 0-0 draw at home and almost nicked it towards the end. The pressure is completely off, and we're not going to win the FA Cup. I'm going to throw it out there right now. We're not going to. And I said in the Discord today, if we win the FA Cup, I'll prevent the show on my underwear. I don't give a shit. But
you also said something else in Discord yesterday.
I started singing. I sung at this front. Yeah, I sung Wembley. Yeah, I sung that. I'm not singing like properly.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That was what they got.
Fucking hell. My voice is gone and all, mate. Behave.
Oh. The irony that Josh has just gifted a membership to an Arsenal fan.
But no, look, the FA Cup is the FA Cup, right? And I know it's going to sound stupid, and I'm always going to go heart over head. But obviously it is Man City, they're on a roll, etc. Man City have also dropped stupid games. They lost the FA Cup final to Wigan a few years ago when Wigan were effectively a championship side. They've also lost points at stupid games. It's a one-off game.
Of course, that's the cup.
And quite clearly last night those players were up for it.
So who was your man of the match from yesterday's game?
My man of the match before I did the members poll, because I remembered to do the members poll this time. Guys, if you don't know what I'm on about, get into Discord, become a member. You can get to the members man of the match poll. My man of the match was Taylor Hardbellis. I thought he was superb.
Yeah, Taylor was one of mine. I also looked at Manning and Brie. I thought both of those had incredibly good games.
I think that you could have given anyone man of the match, to be fair.
Ross Stewart, I think, had a solid performance.
Yep.
I think he looked really good.
I thought Tom Fellows was brilliant.
I thought Tom Fellows was good. Azaz has been putting in solid performance after solid performance lately.
Yeah.
So, there's a number of people that could have won it. What do the members pick?
The Iron Dome.
The Pretz again?
Yep.
I don't think he...
Let me just double check it.
I don't think he was man of the match worthy, if I'm honest.
I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think he was bad. But I don't think he's mad. Like, he was solid. He was, as he always is. But I don't think he did anything for me personally that would have made him a standout man of the match performer when you consider Taylor Howard-Bellis, when you consider James Brie. I think those two alone probably deserve it more. But let us know in chat. What do you think? Who would you have given man of the match to? Taylor, to be honest with you, I think, and he did have that cock up, right? That misplaced pass at the back. He did have that one moment, but the maturity of that man, there's an interview with him on BBC Sport after the match. And if you haven't got to see it, go and watch it. The integrity, the way that man has grown from where he was this time last season, where he looked a bit like a petulant child, and every single time we scored a goal, he was having to go at everyone around him but not taking any responsibility. And then looking at where he is now, I was ready to get rid of Taylor Howard-Bellis and fuck him off. He got an England.
He's gone in the summer. Anyway,
he got an England cap, and I think it went to his head. And I now think he's looking really solid, and I think he's really grown as a player. And I'm impressed by him now.
There's a lot of things, but one of the things I will mention, and Paul just mentioned it there, and I'm just going to quickly shout out as well. I think Tonda got it tactically spot on yesterday, and interestingly, we didn't notice at the time, but obviously he said on the TV he was that we were the team that decided to flip it before the start of the game.
Yeah, so Tonda was asked about, did you prep because of the weather, blah. He said, well, we chose to change ends. So,
but he just said we chose to shake ends. We shake ends? I can't talk tonight. God, good thing I'm not doing a podcast, isn't it? We chose to change ends, make of that what you will. And I think that there's, whether that's just a psychological thing because Arsenal would expect us to go one way or whatever. What is nice is we got to see two goals down at the North End.
I know, great, wasn't it?
Don't really happen that does it often.
No.
I know, yeah.
It was incredible. What a fucking night.
Yeah.
And then Ash ends it with, we're going to fucking Wembley. He's written in the show notes.
We are. 10 or 11 quid for a burger.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, lovely travelling on a tube. Are we going to do what we did last time and just park and then get a tube across? That's easier, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think this time it's probably better if you drive us to the tube station.
And we'll probably go early. Well, we weren't that bad before, but Dad's being all sort of like, don't like tube. Well, just sit on the train.
How else is he getting Wembley? You can fucking walk if you want. Anyway,
We got to look after Matty, and he's like a little kid, so he's probably fucking lost in
off
London.
to Wembley. We normally park at Chesham and then get the Metropolitan line straight into Wembley. It's an easy way of getting
If
in.
we're playing on a Sunday, it's a £5 in the park for the day,
It's 5. It is.
and it's literally just 9 tube stations.
We know it because we don't playoff final. Banging.
Yep.
Anyway,
See you at Chesham, people.
so the draws happened. Like I said, we're away at Man City for that semi-final. Chelsea, I say away again, we're the away team. Chelsea drew the home fixture versus Leeds. Man City turned Liverpool over 4-0 yesterday and looked very good. Chelsea turned Port Vale over 7-0. I think probably expected. And then we had Leeds West Ham today, which was an interesting fixture. That's the draw I wanted for the semis, so we could get to the final. And then maybe Chelsea could take out City. Maybe. We didn't. What a game that was. By the way, just as a caveat, because we're not going to talk about that game too much, today's West Ham Leeds game is one of those things which is this is the reason you don't leave fucking early. Right? Because West Ham were 2-0 down on 89 minutes. Right?
93 minutes they were 2-0 down.
Yes, it was, yeah. They were still 2-0 down. They'd been shown they were 2-0 down when the fourth official stuck up 11 minutes of extra time because of a VAR decision. It took a while, right? And at that point, they were still 2-0 down.
Love VAR.
And loads of people left. And then they scored. It was a hell of a swinging effort from, I think it was Jarrod Bowen.
Yeah.
They hit the post. Old Saints Matty Fernandez with a beautiful first touch to bring it under control, and then smashes it in the and it gets the goal. And then they get an equaliser and it goes to extra time. And actually, in extra time, they scored a third, but it got disallowed for being offside. And it went to penalties. And I hate penalties, but it could have gone either way. That's why you don't leave before the whistle's blown. I mean, we don't anyway because we've got this show to do, so we just in case something happens.
Yeah.
But you do not leave before that whistle blows.
Don't worry, guys. We have definitely wanted to leave before the whistle blows at times.
The amount of West Ham fans that are trying to get back in the ground, and they were like, "No, you fucking left. It's not like a nightclub. You haven't got a hand stamp. You can't just walk back in." Anyway, don't leave before the whistle goes is the lesson there, team. All right.
There you go. You've learned something today. Every day's a school day.
Yeah. I don't know when the fixtures are. Do you know when the fixtures are dates wise? What's the weekend?
It's the weekend of the 25th, 26th of April.
Okay, perfect. There you go. That weekend. All right. So we got transfer news thing. There's a couple of rumours about. Kouachi was wanted by Frankfurt.
Eintracht Frankfurt wants Kouachi. Yeah, done. Next, move on.
Really?
Yeah, apparently so.
But done, yeah, move on. You've already said you think Taylor Holbert will be off in the summer.
I think
surely Kouachi's one you keep hold of?
I think this is... he's not played much in the last... few months, and I think it's probably just a bit of agent talk.
Okay, interesting.
That's all it is.
And then scouts were sent to watch Leo versus Arsenal, and the BBC gave him man of the match.
So this was reported by, excuse me, Alex Crook of TalkSport.
Oh, I don't listen to it then. Move on.
Okay, move on. But yeah, they just said that they thought that there was scouts going to.
He chats some fucking shit, doesn't he, Alex Crook?
Look, if we don't go up this year, Sienza's leaving. As simple as that. And you could see the amount of people, and even just the journalists online. So. Oliver Holt and co, Henry Winter and all of those that were watching the game when going last night, they were like, he just moves brilliantly with the ball. And he does. We know he does. He just moves brilliantly with the ball. He's effortless.
I'm going to say something slightly controversial here, right? I love Leo. I think Leo's fantastic. I'd like to keep hold of him. But if he goes in the summer and we do another Matty Fernandez and we bring him in for a free and sell him for a lot more money than we bought him for, are we that bothered? Because we've just gone through a large spell of games without him, with a lot of wins and an unbeaten run.
Look, I think there's a lot of things at the moment, depending on how the season fizzles out, and you would assume, don't shout me, you would assume that we'll obviously lose the semi-final and hopefully pick up a playoff place. If we go up through the playoffs, for example, then you've got Tonda and Leo potentially sticking around. But if we don't, based on just last night, it's about putting yourself in the shop windows. People are going to be looking at Tonda Eckert now and going...
Also, at the same time, just because we go up doesn't mean we keep either of them.
100%.
We can go up to the Premier League and someone can still come in, someone like a Liverpool or something can still come in for Leo and he might go, lads, it's Liverpool, right? Hey, other club news. With Saints Blackburn. If you've got tickets for Saints Blackburn, today the club announced that the game's been moved. It's been moved to the 14th of April, which is a Tuesday night and an 8 p.m. kickoff. The club have also stated that if you've bought a ticket for it and you now can no longer make that game because it's a rearranged fixture, to get in touch with the ticket office. Obviously, that game was rearranged because we made the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And then Saints at 2 o'clock this morning.
Around about 2 o'clock this morning, yeah.
So someone in the office who was clearly shit-faced after we beat Arsenal then decided to post our financial accounts. I don't know if they thought they were going under the radar, but you've written Saints post tax shit.
I was just doing it quickly before the show started.
So the club's announced a £178 million turnover?
Yes,
right?
they have. So, so I've got some of the figures in front of me now, so apologies, people. It's on my phone. I think their tax is between a £40 and £50 million loss. Leicester, for example, as a comparison, posted a £74 million loss, but obviously they're in the relegation zone at the moment. So if they go down, and I think I've seen a Leicester fan in the chat, I'm under the impression that if they get relegated, they potentially would find themselves minus 10 points next season as well, and could potentially be in a lot of trouble. So in terms of where we sit as a football club on the last tax year, revenue was up 86%, £158 million. Wages were obviously up 43%, £116 million. So wages were 73% of the revenue. Underlying loss is £62 million. Player sale profits £29 million. Pre-tax loss of £54 million. Total accumulated losses of £197 million. Player signings £90 million. Player sales £45 million. Borrowings of £180 million, and transfer fee owes to other clubs are £99 million. Now, a lot of those people will worry about numbers because they'll go, oh, we've lost a lot of money, etc., etc. That's the price of relegation. That's why when people say, hand on heart, I don't want to go back to the Premier League because I enjoy being in the Championship, that's why we need to be in the Premier League.
Yeah, that loss is actually pretty controlled, considering we got relegated.
Yes, I think it's actually not bad. Apologies. He's a Lincoln fan. Lincoln are going up this year. They're going to be in the Championship.
Yeah.
Fair play to the Imps.
I honestly, I think that's actually reasonable accounts, all things considered, considering we got relegated. What I did find interesting is that the owners have a loan to the club, which is in the paperwork that's filed.
Yes, it is.
And they are charging us interest on that loan. And a lot of owners put money into the club as a loan and don't charge interest because they're obviously loaning money to their own club. They're actually, Sports Republic are actually charging interest on their loan to someone.
The other thing that we need to also bear in mind as well is that if we don't go up, because if we do go up, that loss is offset just straight away by being in the Premier League. But if we do go up, we don't have millions of pounds to spend next year.
Well, the other thing that's important to remember is how parachute payments work. So this year is our last year of parachute payments. So parachute payments, if you go down and you get relegated, your parachute payments start, you get 3 years. If you go back up within that time, your parachute payments pause. If you come down the next year after, they don't restart fresh at 3 years, they start off from where they left off, right? So this is our last year of parachute payments. If we go up next year and we come back down again, we don't get any parachute payments. We have to go up, stay up, and then if we come down, we'll start getting parachute payments again. So there is potentially a financial bonus to holding in the Championship and going up the season after for safety if you come back down, but you're still not going to make as much money as if you go up to the Premier League. That's just a fact.
Being in the Premier League is overall. If you're in the Premier League, you're one of the top 23 rich clubs in the country.
Yeah, that's just a fact. So it's better for parachute payments to not go up this year, but it's just better for the finances of the club in general if you go up. It's as simple as that. Right, cool. Wider Championship football stuff. Wrexham come back from 2 goals down. I did see them go 2 goals down. I thought they were going to get battered to get a point and go back into 6th at West Bromwich Albion. So they were below us, obviously.
They're now a point above us.
They're now a point above us.
They were 2-0 down at West Brom. There was I can't remember who scored the third one with West Brom, but Josh Madger scored.
It does make the game on Tuesday vital for us.
It was vital for us anyway, I think. But the only thing that I would say that I would go on about that game is that if Wrexham would have won, we would have had to have gone to the racecourse on Tuesday and won. I think we can get away with going there and not winning. I think we can get away going there and get a point.
Yeah. Millwall beat Borough to go second. Borough are doing an Arsenal.
They are absolutely bottling it.
Yep, 100%.
Sorry, Dave, if you're around, but you are bottling it, mate.
Coventry beat Derby. 2 goals from Ben Barrett and Diaz. Derby went 2 ahead, didn't they, at one point?
No.
They went 2-1 ahead. Coventry came back and won that, didn't they, I think?
It was 1-0 to Coventry, then 1-1, then 2-1 to Coventry, then 2-2.
Oh, was it?
Barrett and Diaz's first goal, to be fair, was a cracking header. It was absolutely brilliant. But Coventry, excuse me again, I'm going to cough.
He's so unprofessional. He can't just do an hour without coughing.
That's a bad throat. I mean, I've managed to get through an hour without weeing, so you can get over it. Coventry are 1 win away from the Premier League.
Why's your throat bad?
I did more shouting than you did last night.
He's lying. It's all the
Not
cock.
lying.
So Coventry's win against Derby does mean that they're 1 win now off of Premier League football. Hull drew, so that's the teams around us. Roy Hodgson wins his first game at Bristol City away at Charlton, which we have on the 21st, visiting us at St Mary's.
Yep.
Queen's Park Rangers beat Watford. Stoke beat Sheffield Wednesday. What day do they play? Oxford, Pompey, Leicester all draw. It is fucking tight at the bottom of the Championship.
So it is mad. Obviously, we know Sheffield Wednesday have dropped. Obviously, still fair play to them for what they're doing. But I believe so. Oxford and Leicester both sit 23rd and 22nd respectively on 40. The Skates obviously then picked up a late goal against Norwich. Skates can't score, so Norwich scored for them, and then West Brom are on 44. So you've got Oxford. Oh, let me try and work this out. Oxford played 40 on 40. Leicester played 40 on 40. Pompey played 39 on 41. Their game in hand is at home against Ipswich. West Brom played 40-44. Blackburn, who picked up a massive win away at Birmingham yesterday, played 40-46.
I have absolutely enjoyed Pompey fans on Twitter giving it the big licks about our victory last night and being some form of tin pot club whilst they're fighting a relegation battle in the Championship. Honestly. Anyway.
Yes.
2 incredibly important games coming up. Incredibly important games coming up considering the teams we're playing and where they are in the league table themselves. Tuesday we're away at Disney FC. So Money Talks Wrexham will host us on Tuesday at the racecourse in a game which it's a 6-pointer. It's huge. It's massive because of where they are compared to us. And then on Saturday we are at home to Derby. We've got a lot of home fixtures coming up actually. Away at Wrexham, home Derby, then home against Blackburn, and then I think there's another away fixture, and then it's home against Bristol City. There's a lot of home fixtures we've got in the run into the end of the league, which is good for us. But Wrexham, let's talk about Wrexham very quickly. Obviously having an incredible season.
Yep.
It's amazing what happens when you can buy success. How do we feel about that? Because when obviously that was the first game of the season we played at St Mary's was Wrexham. They were new to the Championship. We beat them just. We went 1-0 down, and then thankfully Will still made some changes, and we managed to pull that back to a 2-1 victory.
I still think there's nothing to do with change. I still think it's because Kiefer Moore went off injured, but okay.
Probably, yeah. Anyway, we are playing them on Tuesday. They have settled now into Championship life. That's evident in the fact that they're 6th. They're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they've obviously settled into Championship life. They're doing okay. How do you feel?
Better because Kiefer Moore's injured. Look, Wrexham, I've watched them a lot this year. Obviously, I've watched a lot of football. My wife probably thinks that she could probably leave and I wouldn't even notice her because the football would be on. They've been quite impressive. They've got a distinct style of play, and obviously they went close against Chelsea in the FA Cup as well. They obviously went to extra time. I'm not massively confident to a degree at the moment. Obviously, still can't talk. Flynn Downs comes back in. So obviously he's been vital to us in the last few Championship games. We've got Madski coming back in. I expect him to come in. I expect Sienda potentially to drop down to the bench. I expect Laren to come into the starting lineup.
Over Stewart, you reckon?
Yeah.
I thought Stewart had a really good game.
2 games in a week, Liam. It's Ross Stewart, Rupp and Bubba Wrap.
Fair enough.
I expect us to be leggy. Having said that, Wrexham have only had a day's rest on us.
At the same time, morale will be in the ceiling.
And the racecourse will be absolutely bouncing.
Yeah.
So I think it's vital that we go. I'm struggling with a prediction. I'll do it in a minute, but I think it's vital that we go there and we just don't get beat.
Yeah.
That's my cue.
Yeah. Okay. And then Derby?
Got to beat them.
I think I'm more confident with Derby.
Derby will struggle. They won't struggle, but I watched them against Coventry and they look very good.
I do think that for the Wrexham game specifically, every Wrexham fan, logically speaking, would have been sat there last night being an Arsenal fan, because if we get battered by Arsenal and it kind of stutters that unbeaten run and that confidence.
I disagree.
Do you reckon?
I reckon a lot of people who Derby fans and Wrexham fans would be wanting to look at us and want us to go as far as possible. If you look at Coventry a few years ago, they made the FA Cup semi-final. They nearly won it against Manchester United. VAR obviously disallowed a goal, literally because I think someone's left toe was offside. But Coventry now look back at it, and Frank Lampard said it himself, that when they look back at it, the reason they didn't get into the playoff that year, or they didn't do as well as they could do, is because they dropped off of their contract on the FA Cup.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, I'm not
predictions
taking away the banter that we have with Gartsy, and I know it's been moneyballed by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. Obviously, no one ever cares about Rob McElhenney, but it's obviously mainly Ryan Reynolds. But their rise has been phenomenal, regardless of what it is, because you still need to beat what's put in front of you. Their rise has been phenomenal. There's going to get to a point where they have a ceiling, and at the moment, that ceiling looks like it just ain't going to bloody stop. I'm going to put a prediction in for Tuesday night at 1-1.
I'm going to bet on Saints to win 2-1. Let me know what you think, Jack. What about Derby? I think we win. I think we win that one 2-0.
Whilst chat are putting in their predictions for Wrexham, I think Derby is a different test because Derby are a big side, and they've got some players that I like quite a lot, to be fair, but they've also got a fair few injuries. Obviously, we've had a few. When we played Derby earlier on in the season, we really struggled with Patrick Agamang up front.
Who?
Patrick Agamang.
Oh.
And he's still fit. He came off the bench actually against Coventry. I expect him to start because Barrett Diaz is obviously going to drop out because he's not allowed to play against his parent club. If we don't beat Wrexham, this is a game that we have to win. If we beat Wrexham, it's a game that we potentially get away with a point.
I think we have to win everything pretty much.
I disagree. I think Wrexham are starting to be legging. I think they're starting to tail off.
You reckon?
I think Wrexham are starting to tail off. I also think there's a very honest world in which potentially Southampton and Wrexham can make the playoffs and the whole drop out.
Okay. Well, chat seem to sort of agree. 2-0 Saints from Alison. Jimmy G says 2-0 Saints. Becky says 1-1, so she agrees with you.
She knows what she's talking about.
Will Morris says 1-0 Saints. Mark says 3-1 to Saints against Wrexham and 3-0 against Derby. It'd be interesting. Their ceiling will be the same as every other club, 7th in the Premier League. 100% Cameron, I agree with you.
But in terms of I said this to you last night, we're going to go to the semi-final. We did it against Arsenal yesterday. They weren't necessarily about, obviously the result is important in those games, but it's not. If we lose the FA Cup semi-final, we lose the FA Cup semi-final. But performance and staying in the game is vital. In these games, it doesn't matter what the performance is like. You just need to fucking win. Just win.
Question.
Here we go.
For you as well, chat. All right. Option A or B?
You did this last time. I know exactly what you're going to say. You did this last time.
Option A or B? Option A.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Don't get promoted.
Yeah.
Option B.
Yeah.
Go to Wembley for the playoff final. Get promoted. Don't win the FA Cup.
Option A every time.
Yeah?
Major trophy every time.
Okay.
Not going to happen, but major trophy every time.
I mean, I would say the same. I'll be honest, but hey, we'll see. I think that almost every game we go into now, for me, is a must-win game because it's about momentum. And if we stumble now, other teams will continue some momentum, and then
you're right.
You're in trouble.
But if you look at that West Brom game, for example, after we played Fulham, when we looked really leggy away at them. The one thing that we did do against West Brom is that we weren't brilliant that night, but we just made sure that it's that phrase: if you can't win, make sure you don't fucking lose.
Paul Garrett says B. He'd rather have the Premier League.
Do you know what?
And the playoff final is amazing. It is an amazing. We did it. It's a fucking good day if you win.
You mean that game when you were like, I don't care if we go up, and then 10 minutes later you were shouting, yeah, like fucking this guy. Honestly, seriously. Look, there's a big narrative around it, and obviously there's a lot of ifs and buts, and it sounds stupid because there's only 7 league games left of the season, but. There's still that. Look, Dad says FA Cup and playoff final. Earlier this season, I'm not worried about going to Wembley. Now he's like, I want to go fucking Wembley.
Many
Jesus
times.
Christ, Dad.
Wembley. Right. We'll go into the fan funding now. Thank you so much for the small donors we've had. You're amazing. Ghastly, thank you for the $5 right at the start, which he did say, like I said to you in the week, that if Saints beat Arsenal, he would gift 5 memberships.
Love you,
He's
Ghastly.
also categorically stated that if we lose to Wrexham on Tuesday, he'll gift another 5 memberships.
Oh, so we just got to throw it.
I think I'd rather take the win, I'll be honest. Thank you, Galactic Gaz, for becoming a member of the Academy. He did say that he was a member for ages and he doesn't know why it dropped, but he's remembered. So.
I love Gaz. He always comments on every stream and he's always tags us in his Twitter stuff. I love Gaz.
Thank you so much for becoming a member again. I don't know what happens there. Sometimes YouTube just drops memberships off. And then thank you, Josh Blackmore, for the 1 gift membership. You're amazing. Sassy Saint comes in with the $2 and says, big kudos to the other stands for the atmosphere. That it's relevant that actually, because last night it wasn't just the northern stand or the northern wall as they call it, which it has been for the majority of I think the season, if I'm honest. The whole stadium was loud last night.
Agreed.
The whole stadium was loud, and I think it makes a difference. And when you've got that envelopment of sound, because all of the stands are singing and cheering at once, I think it makes a big difference. And I've been to some imposing grounds. Anfield is fucking imposing. It's so loud in Anfield. And I think it has to make a difference to the players on the pitch.
Of course it does, yeah, 100%.
And it obviously did yesterday. So, thank you, Jimmy, for the 1 gift of membership. You're a legend. Jimmy is going live after us, so you can go and check him out. I haven't set up a redirect. I haven't yet. If you want me to set up a redirect, just say.
Just double check that, Jimmy, you are going live, right?
Well, you told me he was.
Well, I thought he was.
Okay, well, you told me he was.
Well, if he's not, then we're going to send him an
If he's
audience.
not, then he has to now, because
Yeah,
he
you
said
have
he
to,
is. Yeah. Thank you, Dotsy, for the $2. With my guy Manning out, who fills in if Boots out?
Wellington's back in training, so he'll be fit.
Yeah, if he wasn't though,
Joshua Kwashi.
Josh Kwashi would probably sit left back. To be fair, And then thank you for the $2 anyway. Thank you, Mosshead, for the $10. He didn't say anything, just chucked $10.
Absolute legend, Mosshead, by the way.
Love him, yeah.
Absolutely loved. Guys, I just want to throw it out there whilst Liam's talking about it. We have a few, I think Dotsy in the chat. She came up and said, "Look, we fucking love it when people come and say hello. So please, if you see us, grab us, say hello, and then come and become a member on a Sunday night."
Ash's favourite is when you lick your finger and put it in his ear. He loves it.
Jesus Christ.
He loves that. He's mad for it.
Or when he pushes me over when I fucking trying to do my shoelace up, or knocks me bottle of water over, or
I tried to push you down the stairs.
You did do that, yeah. Slam your fucking chair down.
Well, the way I look at it, if I was able to push you all the way down the stairs, then I could get a free season ticket next year. Because I could just wheel you in.
You're such a knob, in you. Such a knob.
Right, I think we're done. We good? Look at that, we're on time as well. We did actually an hour.
Well, we finished a bit late because obviously we got told off because we were going to be late. Well, you got artsy because I was going to be late.
Well, it's because you wait till it's 8 o'clock when we're supposed to go live and go, I'm going to go to the toilet.
And
then you got to spend 25 minutes finding your cock, and then we're always late. Thank you, third edition for the $2. Please beat City. I mean,
We'd love to.
I really, really want to, but you know, I don't think we will. But I'm gonna go there and fucking sing my heart out and hope for the best.
I'm paid £11 for a burger.
Pay £11 for a burger, yeah. It was probably shit. Thank you so much for watching, you wonderful human beings. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. If you have, please make sure you smash that like button before you disappear. 100 people watching, 43 likes still on the show right now. That's free. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Same as if you comment on the show once the show finishes, that helps the YouTube algorithm out. YouTube then goes, oh, hey, this show's more popular than we thought it might be, and pushes it to more people that have similar interests and similar likes, and more people get to see our content. More people get to see our content, more people come and join on the live streams. The channel keeps growing. Hopefully members keeps growing. One day we can actually call this an official job for Ash.
I need to gift a lot more memberships for that.
Jesus
Christ.
A lot more. You people have been amazing, though. Thank you for all the donations and thank you for all the gifted memberships, etc. tonight. It is insane that you guys support this little show that we do, because we do it for fun, just because we love football and we love Saints. But that's everything from us. We are obviously back next week at 8 p.m. with another Saints Network podcast, which will be post Wrexham and Derby. And I'm really hoping to sit here with 6 points on the board.
At least
Who
four.
knows?
At least four.
At least four. I'm
It's gotta
hoping
be
6.
four.
But I think that's everything, isn't it?
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, just all those guys that have been gifted memberships tonight, guys. If you're not get into the Discord, it's free. If you're not even Saints fans, get into the Discord. We just talk
Football, yeah,
football.
genuinely.
It's fun, and you're not wrong if you've got an opinion. So yeah. What?
There are some opinions that are wrong.
Like
I can't say.
you can't say on this.
Anything else that you want to say before we say goodbye?
Stick around, guys. We are going to put you into Jimmy's show in 15 minutes' time. Up the Saints. Come on.
Saints. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.